The Kremlin's commanders were confident that their newest next-gen weapons would be more than strong enough to stop Ukraine's forces in their tracks. They were dead wrong. Russia's latest and greatest weapons have once again been erased in an instant, wiped from the battlefield like so many more before them. The Kremlin keeps lining up its assets, but Ukraine just keeps knocking them down, from tanks and armored vehicles to air defense systems and radars. It's a powerful sign of how strong Ukraine has become and how desperate Russia is starting to be as the war draws ever closer to its 4th anniversary. This latest piece of news from the war comes directly from the defense forces of southern Ukraine, which, as their name implies, typically operate in the southern regions of the country, such as Kherson and Zaporizhia. The forces published a Facebook post on November the 13th, revealing the vast amount of Russian targets they had managed to eliminate in the previous 24 hours. Enemy anti-aircraft missile systems Buk M3 and Osa were destroyed in the south over the past day. The defense forces of southern Ukraine continue to strike enemy deployments, firing positions and rear areas. Over the past day, enemy losses amounted to 239 occupiers, 1 tank, 1 Buk M3 air defense system, 1 Osa anti-aircraft missile system, 4 artillery systems, 22 units of automotive equipment, 2 electronic warfare systems, 1 radar station, 1 quad bike, 5 motorcycles, 1 buggy, 3 electric scooters, 1 unit of engineering equipment, 3 communication antennas. Destroyed 37 personnel shelters. Air defense units in the operational zone of the South Group of Forces destroyed 30 attack UAVs of the Shahed 136-131 type. Combat operations are ongoing. That is an incredible amount of targets taken out in the span of a single day, and each and every one is worthy of celebration. It's especially encouraging to see Ukraine managing to take out the likes of Russian artillery systems, which are so often used to bombard troop concentrations and command posts along the front lines, as well as a radar station and electronic warfare systems, which have both become such important and integral pieces of equipment in this war. Another Russian tank eliminated is another piece of good news, added to the thousands of other tanks Ukraine's forces have managed to take out over the course of the conflict so far. And with close to 240 soldiers also eliminated, Russia's recruiters will yet again need to work hard to convince even more of their countrymen to sign up to enter the meat grinder. However, among all the impressive assets on that list, 2 of them stand out as arguably more important than all the rest: the Buk M3 air defense system and the Osa anti-aircraft missile system. These aren't just any old air defenses, they're 2 of Russia's very best systems, especially the Buk M3, which costs tens of millions of dollars to make. It's the latest and theoretically greatest iteration of the long-running Buk family of medium-range surface-to-air missile SAM systems, with the original Buks dating back to the days of the Soviet Union. There have been several variants over the decades since the original Buk entered service in the early 1980s, including the Buk M1, Buk M1-2, and the Buk M2. The M3 builds on the foundations of its forebears, but introduces more modern and advanced technology. It was developed in the 2010s and entered service in 2016, bringing numerous benefits to the table in terms of range, missile speed, and maximum target speed as well. Some of its most impressive technical specifications include a distance range of 1.6 to 43.5 miles, 2.5 to 70 kilometers, an altitude range of 49 to 114,829 feet, 0.015 to 35 kilometers, and a maximum target speed of Mach 8.8 or 6,700 miles per hour. According to test results and real-world data, the probability of a Buk M3 hitting enemy aircraft is 95%, with 70% success rates for ballistic missiles and an 80% chance of striking incoming cruise missiles. It's also stronger against electronic countermeasures and agile targets compared to many other air defense systems, including the prior Buk models, and its interceptor missiles are capable of reaching peak speeds of Mach 4.6 or 3,500 miles per hour, maneuvering in the air with the aid of both air rudders and reactive rudders to find and strike their targets with pinpoint precision. Russian sources say that this system is so good it can even take out American MGM-140 ATACMS, which rank among some of the best ballistic missiles on the planet. It's important to note that this has never actually been proven, but there's no doubting the fact that the Buk M3 is a powerful and impressive piece of hardware, in more ways than one, which is partly why it costs such a lot to make, with average going rates of around $45 million per system, where each system is typically comprised of a command vehicle, a target acquisition radar (TAR) vehicle to gather intelligence on incoming targets, 6 transporter erector launcher and radar (TELA) and 3 transporter erector launcher (TEL) vehicles. Despite its extortionate price tag and high-end tech specs, the Buk M3 hasn't exactly been a difficult target for Ukrainian forces to take out. As well as the latest confirmed destruction in southern Ukraine, there have been additional reports in the past of these systems being either damaged or destroyed by Ukrainian drones. Just mere weeks ago, in fact, reports emerged of Ukrainian Special Operation Forces teaming up with a Russian resistance movement called Chornya Iskru, which translates to Black Spark, to carry out a cross-border attack that also destroyed another Buk M3 air defense system in the Russian Rostov region, just beyond the border of Ukraine to the east. One of Russia's top radar systems, the Nebo-U, was also damaged in the attack, with a full detailed report shared once again on Facebook via the official command of the Special Operations Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine account. Special Operations Forces destroyed the latest Buk M3 and hit the Russians' Nebo-U radar. On the night of September the 28th, the Special Operations Forces of Ukraine, in cooperation with the insurgent movement in the Russian Federation Chornya Iskra, carried out special measures, as a result of which 2 critical elements of the enemy's air defense system were disabled. In the Rostov region, the Buk M3 anti-aircraft missile system and the Nebo-U early detection radar station were turned into scrap metal. The cost of each of the complexes is measured in several $100 million. The Buk M3 is capable of hitting targets at a distance of up to 80 kilometers, and the Nebo-U can detect fighters at a distance of up to 400 kilometers. Both systems posed a great threat to the work of Ukrainian combat aviation in the frontline zone and hindered Ukrainian deep strike strikes, but these complexes in particular will no longer be available. As the Post notes, systems like the Buk M3 are so valuable for Russia in terms of denying Ukrainian forces the ability to carry out their all-important deep strike attacks far beyond the border across Russia's regions. These attacks, which have largely focused on fuel and oil infrastructure targets in recent weeks and months, are arguably the most effective way to deal damage to the Kremlin and potentially bring the war to an end. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky even admitted this in a September address when he stated, "The most effective sanctions, the ones that work the fastest, are the fires at Russia's oil refineries, its terminals, oil depots. We have significantly restricted Russia's oil industry, and this significantly restricts the war." But those sanctions Zelensky speaks of are only possible as long as Russia doesn't have the necessary air defense systems in place to defend its oil industry infrastructure. That's why, as well as focusing on targets like pipelines, refineries, and pumping stations, Ukraine's forces cannot overlook the importance of also identifying and striking at the likes of Buk M3s and Nebo-U radar stations too. Fortunately, Ukraine seems fully aware of that fact and is, thus far, doing a stellar job of locating and eliminating Russian air defenses wherever they may be. Along with the Buk M3, for example, the Southern forces also mentioned eliminating another Russian air defense system, the OSA, also known as the Gecko or Wasp, the 9K-33 OSA, one of the older SAM systems in the Russian arsenal, having been developed in the Soviet Union in the 1960s and first rolled out into action in 1972. However, despite being older than the likes of the Buk M3, it's far from an irrelevant or outdated system and still has a lot of value to offer. It was a world-first creation when it initially launched, being the first mobile air defense missile system to incorporate its own engagement radars all on a single vehicle. And although there have been different versions of this system over the years, they all feature all-in-one televehicles that are capable of detecting, tracking, and intercepting enemy aircraft, either on their own or with the aid of supplementary surveillance radars. Thanks to this, GSA systems are famed for their mobility, as they only require a single vehicle rather than multiple separate elements. They can travel up to approximately 310 miles, 500 kilometers at a time, and are both fully amphibious and air transportable too, reaching peak speeds of 50 miles per hour, 80 kilometers per hour on land, or 5 miles per hour, 8 kilometers per hour in water. Each system uses 9M33 missiles, which measure up at more than 10 feet in length, just over 3 meters, and have warheads weighing 33 pounds, 15 kilograms. They have an operational range of up to 9.3 miles, 15 kilometers, and can reach altitudes of 39,000 feet, 12,000 meters. with top speeds of Mach 2.9 or around 1020 meters per second. OSA SAM systems have been used in numerous conflicts over the years, including the 1982 Lebanon War, the 1991 Gulf War, the 2008 Russo-Georgian War, the Yemeni Civil War, and in Ukraine. Though the Book M3 boasts a bigger range and faster missile speeds, the OSA still has an important role in the Russian army, helping to provide short-range cover for ground forces and land-based assets against low to medium-altitude threats. Some of the more advanced, upgraded variants are also deployed along the front lines to defend formations and logistics nodes. However, just like with the Book M3s, Ukrainian forces have clearly found out how to strike at OSA's weak points, since Russia has reportedly lost at least 32 of these missile systems since the war began. As well as the latest one wiped out in southern Ukraine, another OSA was reportedly destroyed just days ago in a joint effort involving both the Ukrainian Navy and National Guard. According to a report from the Navy on October the 29th, Ukrainian Marine Corps drone operators first detected and tracked the SAM system before a separate National Guard unit followed up with a final strike, wiping it off the map. Footage of the attack was also shared online, revealing how Russian forces attempted to hide the OSA in a tree line, but their hiding place wasn't good enough to evade detection and destruction by Ukrainian drones. Ukraine has been on a veritable rampage in recent days when it comes to finding and taking out enemy air defenses. In addition to all of the aforementioned incidents, Kyiv's forces also celebrated the destruction of yet another Book M3 in late October, thanks to the inspiring efforts of the Chorny Lis, or Black Forest Brigade, as reported by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on Telegram. Scouts of the Black Forest Brigade found and adjusted fire on another Russian anti-aircraft missile system. The cost of the hit air defense system is $45 million. Combat work continues. The post was also accompanied by video evidence of the attack, and once more it appears that the Russians had done their best to conceal their air defenses among the trees, hoping that Ukrainian drones might miss it. Yet again, they were wrong. In the air, with a bird's-eye view of the landscape, Ukraine's drone operators can easily scan the surroundings and pick out massive targets like air defense batteries and missile launch platforms, no matter how hard Russian troops try to hide them. And they will continue to find and take out these assets, leaving the Kremlin with tens of millions of dollars worth of smoking scrap metal time after time. Only a couple of days before that attack was reported, yet another Book M3 was taken out, as well as a couple of Nebo SVU surveillance radars, which were situated in the occupied regions of Zaporizhia, Kherson, and Crimea. This time, the main Directorate of Intelligence of Ukraine, otherwise known as the GUR, was responsible for reporting what had happened via its official Telegram account, writing, "Another fat booty. On October the 23rd and 24th, 2025, the Masters of the Department of Active Operations of the GUR of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine discovered and destroyed 3 expensive air defense systems of the Russian occupation army. Self-propelled firing system from the Book M3 air defense system, 2 IL-119 Nebo SVU radars. Muscovite's air defense systems were eliminated in the temporarily occupied territories of Zaporizhia, Kherson regions, and the Autonomous Republic of Crimea." Drone footage of the attack was also shared online, revealing the moment of impact and the aftermath, confirming the complete destruction of both radar installations plus the Book M3 launcher. It's not just Books and OSAs that Ukraine's operators are attacking either. Russia's other high-end air defense and missile systems aren't immune to Kyiv's swarms and precision strikes. Indeed, back in early October, Ukrainian Special Operations Forces managed to take out one of Russia's S-400 Triumph launchers, as well as an ammunition depot belonging to the 18th Army in occupied Crimea. The S-400 SAM system is another of the Kremlin's most highly prized assets. Developed in the 1990s as the successor to the S-300 family of missile systems, the S-400 entered service in 2007, and while it has since been succeeded by the even more recent S-500, it remains one of the more reliable pieces of Russia's air defense network, as well as one of the most expensive, with a full battery and reserve missiles costing around $500 million in total. The Kremlin has relied heavily on S-400s throughout the war so far, deploying them both in occupied territories and its own home regions to guard important front-line locations and strategic pieces of infrastructure. However, despite being hailed by Kremlin officials as being among the best air defenses in the world, several have been taken out by Ukrainian drones in recent times. The latest one was reportedly stationed near Yevpatoria in western Crimea, and first-person footage shows Ukrainian drones spotting the S-400 launcher before beelining directly into it. Additional footage shows another drone striking the roof of a reported ammo stash in Simferopol in southern Crimea. What makes these incidents even more impressive is that Ukraine is somehow managing to pull off these devastating attacks, all while withstanding near constant bombardment from Russian missiles and drones, as well as frontline assaults. In fact, on the very same day as they reported the recent destruction of the Russian Buk M3 and OSA systems, the Defense Forces of southern Ukraine published a second report, highlighting the vast amount of clashes, airstrikes, and kamikaze drones they had encountered across the country's southern regions. The situation in southern Ukraine remains difficult. Over the past day, the enemy has been almost continuously attacking the southern regions with Shahed 136, 131 UAVs, launching 2 missile strikes on the Odessa region, as well as 2 airstrikes using 7 modified aerial bombs. 28 clashes recorded over the past 24 hours. In the Oleksandrivka direction, the Defense Forces repelled 15 attacks on the positions of our troops. In the Huliapil direction, Ukrainian soldiers repelled 6 enemy attacks. In the Orikhiv direction, the invading troops tried to attack the positions of our defenders 5 times. In the Dnieper direction, the enemy attempted 2 attacks. In the operational zone of the South Group of forces, over the last 24 hours, the enemy used about 1,360 kamikaze drones of various modifications and carried out about 240 drops from UAVs using 269 ammunition. The occupiers continue artillery shelling of the positions of our defenders. Over the past day, 475 shellings were recorded using over 1,870 rounds of ammunition. So, not only are Ukrainian forces somehow managing to resist these intense and relentless attacks, but they're finding the resources and opportunities to strike back too. And while many of Russia's drones are taken out by Ukraine's excellent air defenses, spiraling harmlessly to the ground before even getting close to whatever they were intending to destroy, Ukraine's drones seem to be doing a far more efficient job of finding and annihilating their targets. As they take out more and more of Russia's expensive air defense systems and long-range radars, new gaps will open up across the enemy's territory. Drones and missiles can then travel through those gaps, striking additional targets and causing even more chaos for the Kremlin. In short, each successful strike makes the next attack even easier, as there are fewer defenses to worry about. And if Ukraine can keep up this momentum, Russia may soon start to run dangerously low on air defense systems, leaving countless regions, towns, cities, and frontline locations utterly exposed and entirely defenseless. Check out this video to learn even more about how Russia's air defenses have failed in the face of Ukraine's strategic drone strikes. Or watch this one to see how even Putin himself is starting to get fearful and restless as Ukraine's drones draw ever closer to his Moscow stronghold. Make sure to subscribe to our channel too, so you can continue to be informed and up to date on all the latest breaking news and major developments from the Russia-Ukraine war and other key conflicts around the globe.